Hey, this is Jaclyn Umof, also known as Action Jaclyn, and I'm here at the Dynamic Lifestyle Podcast with Chris and Eric Martinez.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode on the Dynamic Lifestyle Podcast. We have Action Jaclyn with us in the house. How you doing?
Woo! I'm feeling really good today. Yeah, the sun is out. It's summertime. So excited to be here.
Absolutely, and we're excited to have you. And we were talking about like the twin stuff. We were having a good conversation about, just quantum physics?
Quantum physics.
Beforehand, all that stuff. So yeah, we were just having a conversation. Felt like we could have just gone on forever, and I just had to finally hit that record button.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Absolutely. And you're a local too. I mean, you came up from Hermosa, right?
Hermosa
okay,
Beach.
And then you were born in Laguna.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, you're a SoCal girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through and through.
Right on. So I want to dive right into it. So, I mean, that makes sense because I was looking into kind of like your background, and you went to USC. So I was fascinated by, I don't know what a USC song girl was, or what that is. So you're going to have to, break that down. And then I thought that was awesome that, you're a former professional ballerina.
Yes.
And Laker girl and Clipper girl. So let's dive into that. Tell us more about this.
Oh, yeah. I would love to. Being a song girl at USC was such an honor. And it's called song because we dance with the band. So we're like cheerleaders in the fact that we hold palms, we wear cheerleader outfits, we have the classic white turtleneck sweaters, and then the cheerleader skirt, and then we do palm routines with pom-poms, and then we throw them down and we'll do dance routines, but it's always with the band. So the band is playing live all the time with us, which was always tricky because sometimes they would actually mess with us a little bit and change the beat, slow it down or speed it up, and we just would have to be listening, making sure that we're on the same time as them, because they're just such tricksters, the band, and they just would purposely try to mess with us. But it was so much fun. I mean, hundreds of girls try out to be in the position. So it was really exciting. And for me, I had never been a cheerleader before because in my high school, I went to a boarding school. They actually didn't believe in cheerleaders. They thought that it was degrading. So we never had cheerleaders. So I was a ballerina all the way, being in Nutcrackers, Swan Lake, La Bayadere, all the classic shows that you would see. And so I had no cheerleading experience, and so I just went on a whim with my friend and thinking I want to dance more. Maybe this is a good opportunity. I have no idea. And then I ended up making the team because they said they needed more girls with really true dance background. And ballet is the foundation. You can do anything from ballet. So I learned really how to use the palms and pulled out my cheerleader self once I got on the team. And then after that, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I wanted to continue dancing, so I tried out first I tried out for Lakers, didn't make it, tried out for Clippers, made it, and then tried out for Lakers again, and then made Lakers.
Okay, so tell I want to know more about that experience. So how was that, just being a Laker girl and a Clipper girl?
It was unbelievable. It was amazing. I mean, being a dancer, if anyone's a dancer out there, you know how challenging it can be to just have a job as a dancer, dancing, performing. It's extremely competitive. It's most of the time you get a job and then it's done, or you get another job and then it's done, and there's so much in between periods. So being on the team, I felt like it was just it was a perfect place for me to be. I was dancing all the time, performing all the time, learning new routines all the time, growing, and then plus doing a lot of other social things like doing charity events, which I love doing. We had a certain requirement that we had to do every single month, I think it was around 6 or 7 charity events. So I went to so many charities, senior homes, kids, golf tournaments, fundraisers, we went to downtown LA, Skid Row, fed the homeless. Awesome. We did for 5 years straight. I did so much charity, and it was incredible to be able to be in that position and give back. And I realized how much responsibility there is when you are in a position like that, when you wear a uniform that is well known. In any position where you're a little bit more recognized, there is so much responsibility that goes with it. And so I felt really fortunate to be in that position, being able to give back. And I loved it. And then being on the team with the girls, which is such a great experience, having those be my closest friends at the time. And it was really a dream come true. And I remember I'd be in the middle of it thinking wow, I just want to soak this up more. Like, I want to be in the present moment, because it's like, you know, it's not going to last forever.
Right.
And you have to try out every single year. So there's always like that feeling of like, will this happen again? I don't know, because you try out. I had friends that didn't make it again, and that was always really tough to see. So you're kind of always like on edge too, and I wish I would have let myself enjoy it more, because I was always so stressed of like, am I going to mess up? Am I going to get fired? Maybe I'm not going to make it back next year. You know, I was like so preoccupied in that part of my brain, and I was like, now I look back and think like, oh, you know, I should have just like enjoyed myself more and like soaked it up, and so I always actually think about that in my life now, thinking like, whatever I'm doing right now, really soak it up, be in the present moment. And that's why I'm all about meditation and yoga and things like that, to help you get into the present moment, because I got myself into such a spin that like I actually ended up giving myself panic attacks and things like that, where it just was out of control. So I mean, love your life, like where you are right now.
Yeah, love that. I gotta ask you, did you like the Clippers more or the Lakers?
They were both. Everyone always asks that. They were totally different. Like Clippers, we had much more hip hop, so the routines and the choreography were completely different. It was way more funky and that style. And then Lakers was super clean, more jazzy. If we did hip hop, it was much more watered down hip hop. And I loved both teams for those reasons. And then it was just really special being on Lakers, because growing up we had season tickets to the Lakers with my dad, and I remember going to like national championship games, so it was just incredible to like be on the floor at the Lakers games, just having been growing up here, and just how the magnitude of the team and the trophies, and we would travel with the trophies and do appearances with the players and Kobe, and so it was just the everything just was like grand, and it was like, wow, this is really awesome to just like be a part of it and like be on that journey. So
and I would imagine too, like, I mean, was social media like that big though around that time?
We actually at the time were not allowed to have our own social media, or we could have social media, but I wasn't allowed to post anything about Lakers on my personal page. So I wasn't doing anything on Instagram. I was like posting like a picture of the sunset every now and then, or like a thing with my friends. Like I wasn't doing any social media at all.
Gotcha. So how long ago was this though? Like how many years ago?
Like 4 years ago. I stopped dancing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because we're Warriors fans, I have to tell you that.
Oh no.
I have to be honest. I mean.
Oh God.
I guess I could pull for the Lakers.
I'm leaving.
I was a Laker fan when Kobe and Shaq and they had that whole team on there, but when they dismantled, I was like, man, come on. Like, how am I supposed to like the Lakers?
So you're a bandwagon jumper.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Jesus, guy. I'm not gonna lie. Look at him.
This guy was a Sixers fan when
like,
Iverson was on there. So.
No, but I just thought it was really cool, because I mean, I love basketball. I love NBA. Like we grew up playing basketball. I mean, even though we weren't blessed with the height, you know, and all that. But still, I still love watching it. So I was like, man, this is really cool that Jaclyn was a former Laker girl and a Clipper girl. So I was just like, we have to just kick the show off and learn more about that.
Yeah, it was incredible. I look back and definitely smile and think like, wow, that was some cool years. And then also being able to dance at the All-Star game.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
That was incredible. Like we danced with Rihanna. We like actually rehearsed with her and did a show with her. We danced with Lenny Kravitz. Like Beyonce was literally sitting like on the sidelines on the court side while we were dancing. I remember she was wearing these like big glittery shoes, and I was like, I actually got like kind of distracted and messed up, and I was like, oh my God, focus, you know.
That's awesome though.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. And then so now you segued into yoga and meditation, and you mentioned just beforehand about panic attacks. You talk about anxiety.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about that. Like how did yoga and meditation help you with panic attacks, anxiety, and why do you see yoga and meditation becoming so big going forward in today's society?
Yeah, so lots of questions. So with the panic attacks, at the time it felt, it was scary because it felt like it came out of nowhere. I hadn't done I was very physical, right? Being a dancer, it was all physically based. But what I didn't know then was that I was very cut off emotionally, and I was very cut off, to my mind. Like the mind-body connection wasn't there. my mind was connected to my body in terms of like I knew how to mechanically get it to do exactly what I needed to do, but emotionally like I was not present and I was disconnected. And that was just my way of coping with things. We all have different ways of coping through life. Like we all have different traumas. You don't have to have a major trauma for you to actually have trauma, right? Like it could just be that it was a traumatic experience in school one day or something by a teacher, or you were in a car accident, or you're whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be something like, you know, you were held at gunpoint, which like I always thought like, why is this happening to me? Like why I shouldn't, like I kind of shamed myself, like I shouldn't be experiencing this. I had a happy life. Nothing happened to me. I was never abused in any sort of way. So I couldn't understand like why I was feeling like that. And that's where a lot of self-compassion comes in, feeling like these experiences, it's all relative. These experiences in my past, whatever they may have been, were traumatic to me. And this is how I cope. And I cope by disconnecting.
Yeah.
And so having those panic attacks, it was so scary. And it also started my journey of figuring out why. Because immediately people want to just put you on medication. And it's like, here, just take this. And I was like, no, I am determined to not be this person on medication. I've always been into natural remedies. Like I actually don't wear deodorant. Like that was before there was even natural deodorant around. I haven't been wearing deodorant since like, I remember I started wearing it in high school because like, oh, that's what you do. Everyone's like wearing deodorant now. And like, but then I stopped because I started thinking like, or I think my sister said something because she's a doctor, and she was saying like how your lymph nodes are all underneath your armpits, and like your lymph nodes, and you're literally putting aluminum right there, and so you're just basically putting aluminum straight into these little delivery systems that take it around your whole body. And I was like, whoa, that sounds awful. I'm not going to wear that. And luckily I don't need it. And then also I never use birth control, and I thought like, because I learned about how it tricks your body into thinking that you are pregnant and then you're not pregnant. And I was like, that sounds awful. Like I'm totally tricking my body. I don't like the sound of it. I'm not going to get into it. And back then in college, like now I'm like sounding old a little bit, but like back then, like people thought I was crazy, you know? And I'm like, anyways, I was like, I'm not taking it. This is so bad for your body, like what it's doing to you. And now like everybody everywhere is talking about how, you know, to get yourself off of birth control, it's not natural, there's too many hormones or whatever it may be. So anyways, I don't know where I was going with that part.
You were going somewhere with it, yeah.
Yeah, and something you said that kind of stuck out to me was you said that to cope with like your anxiety and some of the trauma was that you disconnect. Like what do you mean by you disconnected?
Disconnected meaning emotionally I would just shut it off. But what we were talking about earlier, your body still stores these types of traumas and emotions in your body. And so the panic attack for me was those emotions coming up. Maybe there are thoughts about myself that I have, thoughts about the world, all these things that are stored in your subconscious mind that we're not even aware of. That's why awareness is so key, and that's why yoga and meditation is so powerful, to cultivate awareness. But all of these things that get stored in the body, and then what happens is all of a sudden it just manifested out into a panic attack. It just like hit a breaking point. And I happened to be traveling in China at the time, and I think just the culmination of everything, feeling totally overwhelmed by the amount of people that was surrounding me. I was there with the NBA, so we were like very well like in the spotlight, and people were coming up to me, grabbing my blonde hair, like all my personal space was like completely invaded, and like it just was too much for me at the time, and I didn't know how to cope, and I didn't mentally know how to control my thoughts. And I didn't even know that was a possibility, right? You just think that life is the way it is because it is the way it is, and you are who you are because that's who you are, and there's no sense of being able to change or adapt or control or create whatever it is that you want to create in your life, manifest, and things like that. So I started, that's where I started. I didn't want to do the pills for the anxiety.
Yeah.
That's where I went down the tangent about deodorant.
You got into deodorant, birth control, which was great. I was like, whoa, I was like, getting educated right now. This is good stuff.
Yeah. I was like, I knew I was going somewhere with that. So I was like determined to not do those anti-anxiety pills and anti-depression pills. And so I started going to yoga, and someone had recommended reading The Power of Now. And that was the first book I read that really opened up my mind. And he explained what anxiety was. It was just the feeling of lack of control of the future or of something that happened in your past. These thoughts get looped in your brain, and some people loop them over and over again to the point of you just get a panic attack because you can't control it. You can't control the future. We can't control the past.
Right.
All we have is right here in the moment. So if you keep your thoughts in the moment of here and now and know that you're capable of taking on whatever that comes your way, you know that you can handle it, you trust yourself, then you don't have anxiety anymore, and the anxiety dissipates. And so when I logically understood what anxiety was, I didn't feel so powerless and helpless with it. It wasn't this thing that just was happening to me. I didn't feel victimized by it anymore. I felt empowered to change my thoughts and to investigate what my thoughts were so that I could change them, think different thoughts to not experience the anxiety. And that's why I'm so passionate about empowering people, because I know what it feels like to feel completely out of control, to feel totally stuck and scared, really. Like those thoughts are really scary. You feel alone, you feel unsure, it's distracting. I remember I was single at the time and I couldn't even go on a date. Like I was like on a date and I was like trying to listen and I couldn't even really listen.
Yeah, you just weren't there.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I was like so in my thoughts and like the fear and the anxiety, and I didn't even know where it was coming from, and I just couldn't like function. And I was like, I can't live like this forever. You know, I have all these dreams and things that I wanted to do in my life, and I couldn't imagine living like that forever. So I was like, okay, like it's time to go to work. It's time to figure this out, and take responsibility for this. And luckily I did find yoga. And for me, I always go into things like first, lots of times like from an ego place or a vain place. Mm-hmm. And then you start to discover the depth of it. Like I first got into yoga because I wanted to learn how to do a handstand, and I wanted to do all the crazy poses like scorpion and all of those things. But then when I was there, it was like the things that the teachers would say would like completely impact me and change me. I remember one time in Shavasana, that was back when if I stayed for Shavasana, because I used to be one of those people who would leave early. Okay. And be like, I don't have time for this, or like, this is like ridiculous. Like I would totally judge it. And now I'm like on the other side of the spectrum. And they'd be saying like, you know, those of you walking out, you know, sometimes consider that you might be the ones that need it the most. And I'd be like, oh gosh, you know.
You're walking out.
Yeah. Like this person doesn't know me. Like actually they knew me really well, you know. But I remember one time in Shavasana, they said like, okay, it's time to like go, it's like forgive yourself. And I had never thought of the concept of forgiving myself. Mm-hmm. And I just started crying. And I was not a crier, again, because I was very disconnected. And so like I would rarely cry, rarely cry. And I started crying. I remember I was so surprised that I was crying that I even like checked the ceiling to see if there was like drops on the ceiling coming, like there was a leak. Like, are these my tears that's actually happening, or is there a leak on the ceiling? Because I was so surprised. Yeah. But again, that's where the body is always telling you what's going on the inside. Like my body and brain were so disconnected that I didn't even realize these tears were mine. And she said that, and it hit a nerve for me, and my body was ready to release. And I was in Shavasana because Shavasana is such a relaxing pose. And it's a time where you really can access the subconscious mind. I talked to a neuropsychologist, and she talked about how there's 3 times during the day where you can access your subconscious mind, and it's right when you wake up, right after you work out, and right before bed. Whatever you tell yourself right before you go to bed, you can like kind of plant a seed. So that's why Shavasana is so powerful. She said that, and it hit me, and I was relaxed. Your eyes are closed, your body is totally, you feel weightless into the mat. I had just done, this hour-long vigorous workout of yoga, and then I just opened up, and I was so surprised. And then it scared me a little bit too, because it's like that feeling where the panic attack, I was like, where did that come from? Like, what was that for? There was a feeling of unknowing of yourself and feeling just unsure. And so, again, I went back into figuring it out and connecting my mind and emotions and my body more and more. And I realized that they were just really far apart. And my whole journey has been bringing them all together into one. Yeah. Being aware of my thoughts, being aware of my emotions, being able to self-soothe with my thoughts, being able to build myself up with my thoughts. Listening to my body, discerning the difference between, my ego and when my ego's saying no more, or when I really do need to take a break, things like that.
Yeah, love it. And most importantly, being unapologetic about it, just because you are aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, like, in today's society, like we were talking about, right, it's just very reactive, right, in everything, like a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, very fast-paced, like a lot of information. So, a lot of people that are listening to this are entrepreneurs, or maybe like in the fitness industry, looking to be like fitpreneurs or whatever, but we're always trying to think about how we can enhance a lifestyle, and find that balance, if there is, right? But how would you kind of recommend for somebody, like if they're resistant to starting yoga, but you understand how beneficial it could be for like your lifestyle and enhance it? How do you start off with that? What are some like practical steps like for that?
Yeah, what I always recommend people is keep it short, because I know we all have a relationship to time, feeling like we don't have enough. And that could actually be a whole other podcast of just what's your relationship to time.
Right.
And that's something that I'm also personally diving into, So we all feel pressed for time, although, I like to think there's an abundance of time, and trying to keep that feeling of time open instead of restricted. But however, so having maybe a 10-minute session, a stretching session that you do for yourself, or it's a 5-minute meditation and a 5-minute stretch, but something that you can do every single day, like a daily ritual, is very, very powerful. And it's like that quiet time that you can have for yourself. Either wake up before everyone's up, let's say you have a household of people, or it's just you just wake up maybe a little bit earlier, or you do it right before you go to bed. And having those sacred moments to yourself every single day builds trust in yourself, builds confidence, builds self-love, builds this feeling of connection, again, bringing the mind and body together so that you can heal those unprocessed thoughts and emotions. And that's why I say just start small. It doesn't have to be a 2-hour yoga class every single day after work, because that's, if then it might not happen, and then you're like, oh, I didn't do it yesterday, and then then it's just like all of a sudden a month goes by and it's gone. So starting really small and having either a list of little things that you like to do, whether it's a meditation or a couple stretches, or it's a journaling exercise. Those are all really powerful. Like, that's what I do every day. I do gratitudes, I do visualization, I do a breath meditation, I get outside, especially right now with the sun. Like I jump in the ocean every day. And then there was something else that I do, but I have like these little things that I like to do, and then I work out, but that's me, but that's something that I really love doing. But I would say like start out with like a 10-minute ritual like that, and a daily practice, right? That's what yoga, they say, daily practice.
And is this a lot of the stuff that you teach in your programs, Get Stretchy, and then you have another one called Get Stretchy at Work, right?
Yes,
because people are probably sitting all sedentary. It's like they got to get up and move, get the blood flow going.
Yeah, so that's what Get Stretchy is for home, and then Get Stretchy at Work is for at work.
Cool.
So it's designed for people at work. So I'm actually in work clothes when I filmed it, so that you could see it's doable at your desk. Yeah, no excuse. And I was in an office filming it, so I use desk chairs as props, so we don't ever get out of mat. We use the desk as a prop, so it's literally for you at your desk. And there's so many co-working spaces like this, or a lot of people working from home now, or startups, and really the workplace is changing a lot, and people are becoming more aware. So, don't feel weird stretching in the middle of the room with everybody. You're gonna inspire people to move and stretch, and the people are gonna see how happy you are and how good you feel.
Exactly. And I'm always getting up stretching. I'm stretching my pecs out. I'm like this. And people were looking at me just weird. I'm like, hey, I don't want to sit there and be like a slug. I don't want to have a kyphotic back or spine. It's just sorry,
Exactly. Yeah. You feel great. Like you release emotions, endorphins get released.
Absolutely.
You start to open up more creativity, and I'm obviously all about movement.
Yeah, and I have to tell you really quick a funny story about yoga, right? Okay. So I want to get back into yoga, I really do. And I keep making every excuse in the book, so I have to call myself out. So I want to say maybe it's like 6-7 years ago, after we did a bodybuilding contest. We tried Birkham. Is it Birkham or Brickham? Is that how you pronounce it?
Oh, Bikram?
Bikram, the hot yoga?
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, gosh. See what I mean? So we tried that, and we went in there, just these two meatheads, just like we're all like ripped, jacked after a show, and like immediately we went back in the back of the room because I was like, oh man, I can't do this. I can't do all these poses. Like, my flexibility, I am just terrible. So, gosh, like long story short, like it was so hard. It was so challenging to where I was sweating so bad, just profusely. Just the lady had to tell us.
Well, it's hot. Like you walk in there and you start sweating.
And even the instructor was just like, I don't know if you guys are ready for this, and that. I was like, that discouraged me. But I was like, you know what? I need to do this again because I know there's so many benefits to it.
Yeah.
So I was like, geez, I don't know why I thought of that.
Did you go back?
No. I didn't end up going back. No. So there you go, right? It's probably because of what that lady said, but I shouldn't have.
A little unfinished story
here. I shouldn't have let her, just discourage me, but I never went back. I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just, revisit that later in the future. So I got to get back into it though.
Yeah, go to any, there's literally right next door here, there's the Hot 8 Yoga.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I got to find one closer, like Culver City, so that I can just walk there or something.
Oh, okay, is that where you live? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or any yoga class. A lot of yoga classes now are like a little slightly heated, like 80 degrees or something.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah, so you can start there too.
Cool. Yeah. And that program that you do, I like that. The getting, Get Stretchy. Stretchy, like during work, right? So why do you think so many like entrepreneurs or just like high performance business professionals like don't really put their health and fitness at the forefront? Why do they always have to put it in the back burner and be like, I'll do it later, or I'll do it when I have time, or
Yeah, not understanding or really being connected to why you're doing it, and that's the biggest thing. And I think also people are young. Like a lot of entrepreneurs are young, and they feel fine now, right? And so most of the time, people won't actually make a change or change their behavior until they're at their breaking point, which might be pain, or they finally do. Like I was just talking to a friend, and he said that he slipped his disc from just bending over to flush the toilet.
Ooh, I've heard that, yeah.
That's just, and he's 30-something years old, and he was like shocked, and now he has to stretch 2 hours a day. Mm-hmm. And so that's what it takes, that breaking point. But I always tell people, don't wait until you get there, because you're going to spend so much, the time conversation, thinking you don't have enough time. You're going to spend so much more time trying to reverse all of the damage that you've done.
Absolutely.
2 hours a day is obviously much longer than 10 to 15 minutes a day. Yeah. So just being aware and proactive in your health. Because the thing is, we go with what we feel now. And if you feel now fine, then you're like, oh, I don't need it. I don't need to,
Right.
I'm just going to have the cheeseburger. I'm just going to not work out. I'm just going to do what feels good right now, because we're so stressed in other ways. And so it's like some people's way of self-soothing. It's like, oh, well, I just want to watch TV, right? Like that's kind of how we decompress and things like that. So be proactive in your health and save money, save time for the future.
Yeah, and that's I can't tell you how many times I've heard like that mindset of like it's an on or off switch, where it's like, you know, when I get to this point where I make this X amount of money, I'm going to just flip the switch and take care of my body and this and that, right? It's not like that. We know that, right? And that's why we talked about this topic called the business ROI of being fit. You know, you get a really big return of investment by being fit for being like a business owner or a high performance professional, because you feel better, you look better, you know what I mean? So you get more energy, more confidence, more things start happening. So that's the ROI of being fit, you know?
Yeah, but everyone's always chasing like the bigger bank account, you know, or the bigger social media presence, but it's just like your health comes first, you know?
Right. And also that's living a conditional life.
Yeah.
Meaning like you're going to wait until, like for a woman, maybe wait until she has the big ring and the guy in order to be happy.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no guy wants an unhappy girl, you know, and like that, like be happy now, be the woman who's already married and happy now, you know, and they talk about that like in quantum physics, like everything is already happening now. And also, so just again, being in the present moment, being present and being happy, being joyful in the moment here and now, and doing practices like forgiveness, which allows you to be free of things that weigh you down, of grudges, so that you can be joyful and happy in the present moment. And that is a huge lesson for my life, of not waiting for something to happen for me to feel happy, not waiting for me to get the car or the job or the amount of followers or like whatever it may be that people are chasing right now. Like, oh, once that happens, or if only I had this, then I would be happy. If only I had that, or if only I was taller, or if only this, right? All of these things. And then you're never going to be happy then and now. And I listened to one thing, I can't remember who said it, but they say happiness like that lasts for 6 months, where it's you gain something. Let's say you finally got the car of your dreams, and then the newness of it lasts for about 6 months, and then you're going to actually go right back to where you were after the 6 months, which is crazy, right? So you're going to have the dream car, and then now you're back to square one again.
Yeah.
So,
and that's kind of just like I'm all for like, you know, nice things. If like you want good, like materials, that's great. If you work for them and that's what you want, great. But don't sit there and think that that's going to just like ultimately make you so happy and fulfilled, because you're going to go right back to just, you know, that place where you were, and you're like, oh, what's the next thing?
Right.
You know,
Yeah, something I want to circle back is what you talked about, like the relationship with time, because I think it's interesting. Like even for myself, you know, I wake up early, like 6 o'clock, and then I don't shut it down until like 9 completely. But I feel like I still don't have enough time in the day, and I don't think that's like healthy. You know, I always feel like I'm up against the clock for some reason.
And I'm
know,
always
like,
telling them too. I was like, "What do you mean you don't have enough time?"
Yeah, it's
so
just,
I'm like
it's obviously an issue.
On that.
That's why I'm trying to ask them, like, what is that kind of like? Where does that come from, or like, how does one kind of like get a better relationship with time?
Yeah, I think recognizing that, right, that I think we're going to always feel like we don't have enough time. We have a finite amount of time on Earth, in this physical body at least. If you believe in, you know, past lives or future lives, then time is expansive and time is abundant. We never have, we always have more things that we need to do. And I think being aware of the relationship that you have with that, what are the thoughts that you're telling yourself when you feel like you didn't get enough done? For me, I know that when I'm not getting enough done in the day, it affects my self-worth, feeling like my self-worth and my value of myself is dependent on how much I get done in a day. Because I'm a very productive person. I've always been highly motivated, highly driven, and lots of times people like that that's how they gain their self-worth, is like just being uber productive and driven and successful. However, it's the balance of still feeling successful and valuable even if you don't get everything done on your to-do list, knowing that you are still valuable, you're doing the best that you absolutely can be doing that day. And then time doesn't feel so scarce. And it's for me it's been a huge practice that I'm still working on, not showing up late to things because I feel like I don't have enough time, or I'm trying to squeeze as much into this finite amount of time. all of that. So it's crazy, but we all have a relationship to everything. We have a relationship to time. We have a relationship to money. We have a relationship to ourselves. We have a relation, just like how we have relationships to people, and we each have our own unique relationship to things like that. But it's really powerful to feel an awareness around it and not feel controlled and victimized by it. Instead, feel empowered of not only feeding your thoughts empowering thoughts, or feeding yourself empowering thoughts, but knowing that you're doing the best you absolutely could be at that time. And then if you're not, like, then what can I do different? What's working, what's not working? A really like objective point of view, and not like, oh, I suck or I didn't get it done, right?
Yeah, like shame or guilt yourself. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's talk about action. Just taking action. I mean, that's your Instagram name, Action Jaclyn, which I love. And you just said right now you've always been goal oriented. You've always just been highly productive. So where did that stem from? And then why do you think action is so crucial today in today's society?
Really quick, what sign are you?
Gemini.
Gemini. Okay. All right.
Do you know astrology now?
No. Because there's like a little similarity. I was like, maybe she's a Leo.
Really?
I had to ask.
I guess Geminis have like a little bit of everything, or a little bit of, of the signs.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
I'm not going to go there. I don't know anything about that, but
we can always look it up, but I just thought I'd ask.
What are you guys?
Leos.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. 2 Leos
Two
right
Leos,
here.
Yeah.
Oof,
Man, do you guys ever like get into each other? Like,
Of course, like over the dumbest shit.
Especially when we were a lot younger, absolutely. But it's hard. I mean, we're business owners. We live together. It's like, man, it's just.
We're different too, though. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm more kind of like, like as you can tell with the time thing. Like, I'm like, no, we need to do it now. Like, no, like we have to do it now. And he's more
Okay.
like, chill out a little bit, like think it over
Lay
a little
back.
bit. But it balances us, though.
okay.
Yeah, it works.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good question, though.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So
Did you guys ask me something?
where were we? No, I was saying we were on the action part, right?
Oh,
So,
action,
Yeah,
yes.
where did
Okay.
that originate in you? Because I mean, I know for sure we're action takers, and it's just like it's rare when you see that. It is. So I just want to know like where that came from, and then why is that so important today?
I've as long as I can remember, I've been an action taker. From childhood, I loved.
Your parents always push you to just do your own stuff.
Yeah. Like my 2 older sisters are also like that too. We're all just very driven. Our parents were entrepreneurial. My mom immigrated here from Mexico. My dad came over from New York, and they really instilled in us the American dream. Like anything is possible. If you put your mind to it, you can do it. And so they really did motivate us a lot, and they gave us that push. And my mom put me in everything you can imagine, like tennis, gymnastics, ballet, violin, piano, like tap, musicals. Like I did everything when I was a kid. And so she says now, like, she's like, maybe I did too much. Like you need to like relax a little bit, which has been my journey, right? To like unwind and to connect and be in the present moment. But it's not her fault. Like she just like jokes about that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still discovering that of like where it really, really originates from.
That's awesome though.
Yeah.
And it came from somewhere.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, I mean, ¿hablas español? You said your mom's...
Un poquito, sí.
Okay, yeah.
¿Y tú? Or you
Más o menos.
ustedes?
Yeah, with a couple more cervezas, just loosen up a little bit. It starts coming back, flowing.
Sí,
Yeah,
sí.
otherwise I'm like, man.
What part of Mexico is your
My
mom from?
GPS is in Espanol.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I gotta
so
break out the Rosetta
If
Stone.
I'm ever lost in Mexico or a Spanish-speaking country, I know how to get around really well.
What part of Mexico?
Michoacan.
Oh, okay. Our
yeah.
mom's from Michoacan.
Really?
Yeah, Santa
Oh,
Ynez.
wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Have
Small
you guys
world.
been?
Never. We've
No,
only been to
I know,
like
I've never been either.
The party ones, the touristy ones, which is kind of a shame.
On the coast, yeah.
Yeah, blame it on him.
Hers is beautiful in December, though.
In December?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have all like little like parties there and the blessitas and all that stuff.
Oh,
so, yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been.
Yeah.
One day I'll go.
Yeah, exactly.
That time.
Get the meditation and the yoga over there.
Yeah.
Right?
There you
Cool,
go.
right?
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, but so walk me through like a day in your life, kind of
Yeah.
like what you do in the morning, kind of like midday, and then how do you shut it all off?
Yeah, because you already said you have like I could tell you're big on morning routines.
Yeah, which we are too.
Just-
You know.
Yeah, so in the mornings, For me, being vocal was, I realized, an important part of my growth, because I think being the youngest, I was actually very quiet. I know I'm talking a lot on this podcast, but like I'm normally just like very quiet.
No, it's all good.
So using my voice, feeling heard, and projecting has been an important part of my growth. So in the mornings, I have a whole visualization that I do, and it's different every single day. It just has to do with my dreams of what I'm doing. Like I want to do more podcasts. I want to speak more. I want to write a book. So I'll say like, oh, I see myself on a stage right now with all these people, and I'm speaking my truth, I'm delivering, I'm powerful. And so I just walk myself through visualizations, and they're so powerful, so powerful. Especially when I was single, like a couple of years ago, I was like kind of in a down place, and I used to visualize this one dating coach. She like was so powerful. Like she gave me this visualization to just imagine just the opposite of what you would think. Like get yourself in a place of like being magnetic and attractive, and it's just crazy how powerful our mind is. So anyway, so I do that. I say everything that I'm grateful for, and also all of my affirmations. So who am I going to be today, or what is my identity, because our identity dictates our actions. You're not gonna, like I heard someone say, I think it was Jim Fortin said, you're never going to outperform your identity. So if you identify as someone who's lazy, if you identify someone as unhealthy, if you identify as someone who doesn't get things done, you will always, the rest of your day is going to fall in action to support that. So just saying those affirmations over and over again are super powerful. And then I drink like a huge glass of water. I like chug it down. I have an antioxidant little shot that I take. And then I like to work out in the morning. So I'll usually go for a run, especially when it's nice out. I'll go outside and go for a run. Or I like to get out of my house since I work at home. I'll go to a yoga class. I go to a Pilates class. I'll go to either like a running class or run outside or something like that to just move, because I just feel like I can't function the rest of the day if I don't work out. I'm sure you guys can relate. And then at night I stretch. I always do like 2 minutes of splits on my right side, 2 minutes of splits on my left side, and then 2 minutes of my middle splits. And so I'll just kind of like hang out in the splits. Maybe sometimes I'm on the phone with someone, or I just like listen to a podcast. So
is there benefits to that? Just like in that position, like
for me, it's like I doing the splits is just like it's I don't know. It's just like a part of me. I've been doing it since I was little. The splits may be extreme for someone who doesn't have those splits, So doing some sort of stretching routine. That's why having just a few poses, like on my Instagram, I post poses all the time that you can do, or 3 different stretches you can do for foot flexibility, or 3 different poses you can do for your shoulders opening. You can just pick a few different poses and stretch, hold each stretch for like 1 to 2 minutes. 2 minutes if you really actually want to see change in the muscles. If you stretch for under that, you're really more like maintaining or just feeling good in the moment. So so those are the few of the things that I do.
And then do you get most of your work done like during the day? Is that how?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then I'll work during the day. And then sometimes I get like a spurt at night, and I'm trying not to do that as much, but sometimes I just get in the zone, and I'm very much like to be in flow. And for some reason, I think at night maybe it just quiets down. I'm not getting a bunch of text messages or emails, and I just can like write. And so my days are kind of different in terms of that.
Gotcha. I was gonna say, you need to come to a co-working space and like break it up a little bit.
I know. I really like working at home.
No, I'm the opposite. I can't focus there.
Really?
No,
see, I love having my food. Like I have my special shakes. I make my salads. I like to have my snacks. I like to have my bathroom. I like my own temperature. Like sometimes it's cold, and I really like to have the temperature that I like. Like I'm just. I like
But
it.
that's funny though, because like when we lived in
Gotcha.
Orange County, like we lived in a townhouse, and
Uh-huh.
for some reason we liked working from there. You know, and I don't know if it was just the space or we had like an office in there, right? And it was upstairs, downstairs, so like the
Yeah.
psychological thing. But now, since we live like in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment,
Yeah.
it's like we got
It's
to get
more
the hell
city,
out of
I
there.
don't
We
know.
can't
Oh.
sit there and just be there. We go crazy.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just funny how like we've evolved like that. you know?
Yeah. Yeah, energy and feng shui and the way the building is like makes a
Absolutely.
huge difference.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
anywhere I move into, I make sure that there's a ton of daylight or light that can come in, natural light, because that's so important to me. I can't work in like a shadow or a box. And then also, I think that's why I like living down in the South Bay, because the energy doesn't feel chaotic.
Right.
Yeah, I
No,
agree
for
though.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, the
You just
energy
go
over
to
here,
this-
like the minute you walk out of your house, you're just like, oh shit, like here we go, battle.
Oh,
You know?
God.
That's why we do our morning routine.
Exactly.
So we
What's
can-
your morning routine?
Oh gosh, I'm heavy on that. I've
Let's
been
hear
doing
it.
that for so long.
Puts on all
Really?
of his face creams, his eye lotions, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
despite that, I wake up, do the whole water thing. Chug like 16 ounces. I do some green powder. After that, go back and read for at least 30 to 45 minutes.
Wow, cool.
It's different little things that I'm reading.
Yeah.
Then I'll just do like a journaling, practice, like 3 to 5 things I'm grateful for. Then I'll just do meditation for like maybe 1 to 2 minutes, because I just can't do longer than that. I've tried the apps. My level of focus, for some reason, it works for me just to do like 6 breathing techniques.
Yeah.
And then that's it. I start my day and do some stretching as well too. Eat
Good.
breakfast, then I'm out of here. I'm out
Cool.
of there. Yeah.
That's really cool.
And then I break up my day for like doing like some sort of activity, working out, go play basketball,
Yeah.
just something just to break up that day.
And what do you feel like your morning routine does for you?
Honestly, it puts me in that mode to play offense, right? Because I think too many of us wake up in that reactive mode. So for me, it just grounds me and puts me in control. So I take care of myself first by doing that. Then I can go serve others at a high level. Otherwise, I'm like, there's no way. My anxiety will kick in to where I'm just like, nope, I can't do what I want to do. Like I'm just not going to be productive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was thinking the same exact thing. We were talking about that earlier.
Twins.
Copies
Right?
me.
Yeah.
Same socks. It's like talking to one person. Two
Yeah, but no,
bodies.
it's just really important. I think just the morning
Yeah.
routine thing, if more people would just really buy into it and just really dedicate like even 10 minutes to start, and then from there just level up little
Right.
by little. But
Right.
I mean, so many people are just so close-minded. It's just always that just kind of that victim mentality, or I don't have enough time, or I have kids and this and that. It's like I get that, but it's like still you got to take care of yourself first.
Right. And I've been there, and so I can relate to that.
Yeah.
To that feeling of feeling helpless and controlled by your circumstances and the people around you, and wanting to blame everything around me. And so that's why I created Get Stretchy, and that's why I actually have a membership app, or an
Okay.
app as well.
Cool.
And so that has workouts, like at-home workouts
Nice.
for people to do. And so I have a lot of women who are, a lot of stay-at-home moms, or they just had a baby and they're on maternity leave, or a lot of women who also travel a lot for work, and they're like in hotel rooms, and you don't always, especially as a female, like want to just like venture out and like go find a gym or something, if you're traveling. And so I love preparing all of the workouts there, because again, it's like I make the workouts from like 10 minutes to 50 minutes, so it's like they can fit it into their schedule. And I also have meditations in there, and also journaling exercises they can do daily within the app, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
So just empowering people to just start small. Here's a little bit you can do today. Here's a little bit you can do tomorrow. And then allowing people to see how it affects their life and create that awareness. Because most of the time we walk around not feeling good in our bodies, and we just think that that's just how it is, and we actually forget what it feels like to be in a body that feels free, that feels energized, to feel thriving. And so the call to be proactive for your health might not be there, because it's not like totally bad. It's just like, oh, this is just how I am. And so I'm like, it's my life's mission to remind people and empower people and encourage people that you actually can feel a lot better, and you get to, and you deserve that.
Exactly.
And you deserve to put that time into yourself and to feel the best that you possibly can, and to take care of yourself so you can live a super full, vibrant life.
Yeah,
100%.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. All right, Jaclyn. So you ready to move on to rapid dynamic questions?
Sure.
All right, here we go.
Ding,
So
ding, ding.
first question. If you could have a Super Bowl commercial for 1 minute and you had to speak on yoga or meditation, the benefits of it, what would that 1 minute video be about?
Wait, okay. I haven't watched the Super Bowl in a few years.
So Super
okay,
Bowl
so just
commercials,
but
millions
Super
of
Bowl
people are
commercials
watching.
are like known for being really long.
Yeah, we'll just say minutes though. And we're getting millions of people though. That's the whole thing of it.
Okay, and it's a commercial on
A
yoga?
commercial on yoga or meditation, the benefits, why people should do it. Coming from you.
Jeez, okay.
No pressure.
I would probably like do some sort of back walkover handstand thing to catch people's attention because people like fast things on TV. And then I say, when was the last time that you felt amazing in your body? Do you feel tightness? Do you feel like writing a TV script right now? Do you feel stuck in your body? Do you feel pain? Do you want more energy? Do you want to feel better? Well, you deserve that, and it only takes 10 minutes, so join my program. I know. Swipe up. I know.
Link in the bio.
So swipe up.
What is your number one tip for creating content?
Focusing out, serving, impacting.
Okay.
Okay. If you couldn't empower or inspire people right now through yoga or meditation, what would you be empowering and inspiring people through?
Dance? Does dance
Sure.
count?
Sure.
I mean, dance
Absolutely.
is kind of like yoga.
Still
but
moving.
Moving. Yeah, any sort of like expressive art form. Yeah, I think if I wasn't a professional dancer, doing something with movement.
Okay. Gotcha.
Cool.
Finish the sentence. The world needs more of.
More of awareness
Awareness.
and consciousness.
Okay. I like that.
What's one skill you advocate for someone to learn?
Self-love.
Self-love. Okay.
What's your go-to tip to staying focused?
I don't know why I'm thinking of this. I mean, movement. It always comes back to movement.
Okay.
If you feel free in your body, I really feel like you can feel free in your mind,
Okay.
and you can better focus
Like
and
that.
not feel distracted by pains or looping thoughts or things like that.
Okay.
What do you currently fear?
The fear of not being enough.
Really quick, why is that though?
It's been my growth path. The same thing of feeling like I need to be overly productive or overly successful in order to be valuable.
Okay. Got it. I appreciate you sharing that. What are you really bad at?
Cornhole.
Cornhole.
I
Really?
hate that game.
Sober or with a couple drinks?
Either one.
That game's fun. I like that game. Yeah, that's fun.
Everyone does.
That was funny. What are 2 books you highly recommend, like game changers?
The Power of Now.
Okay.
And You Are a Badass is a good gateway.
Heard that a couple
Drug.
times on here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's next for Jaclyn, and what's it going to take for you to reach your full potential?
Continuing to do my daily rituals, continuing to visualize, be in the visualization, continue to trust myself, continue to have faith, and believe in things that you don't see right here and now. What's next for me is writing a book, speaking on stages, continuing to grow my membership, my app, my community, doing live events with my community, building my membership to thousands of women all over the world, and men too, if you guys want to come.
Absolutely.
So the future's looking bright.
Awesome.
Love it.
Yeah.
So before we ask the last question, I just want to commend you and just say thank you so much for your time coming down here from Hermosa Beach and getting to know you and everything you're doing for as far as like empowering both men and women and inspiring them through yoga, meditation, and just sharing your story and being open. So I really commend you on that, and that's why we got you the bracelet that said Warrior. You're a warrior in our eyes. Plus, we like the Golden State Warriors. I'm just kidding.
Oh no!
I'm just
That was
messing.
good.
I had to
That was
throw
good.
that in there. But no, seriously, thank you though.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh.
And I echo all that. I echo everything he said, despite that last little curveball. Yeah.
Oh,
She's
thank
gonna
you.
throw it away when she walks out.
I know. I know, but I won't. I'm going to believe it to be that I'm a warrior.
Yeah.
We're all warriors. But
Absolutely.
thank you for allowing me to be here and share my truth. And this was really fun. You guys asked great questions.
Absolutely.
So thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Yeah.
So the final question.
Oh, there's more.
What does it mean to Jaclyn to live a dynamic lifestyle?
Dynamic lifestyle. To be able to live the fullness of life, like all of the ups and the downs. Like I had started the conversation saying I was disconnected. That numbs you from the ups and the downs. Not really allowing yourself to fully be joyful and happy in those moments. And then also being in those times where I do feel sad, feeling okay and compassionate towards myself and releasing the shame. And fully just living my truth, being authentic so that I can connect with people, so that I can share my truth, so that I can empower people and empower others to live a full life.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. So where can our listeners learn more about you, and then is there anything we can support you on?
So Instagram is always the best place. I'm on there every single day posting new stretches for you to do. I post a daily mantra as well in my stories that you can meditate on. So you can go there, Action Jaclyn, and then from there you can go to my links, go to my website, actionjaclyn.com, where you can find my program Get Stretchy, and then my app called Stretchy Fit, and then also the Get Stretchy at Work if you guys want to stretch at work.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll have all that plugged up in the show notes. So
Cool.
once again, Action Jaclyn, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. And then until next time, guys.
All right, thank you. Bye.
You're ready to take your personal training business online, to be able to work remotely, to be able to build a six-figure online coaching business, and to be able to actually spend the time with your family, your loved ones, and doing the things that you actually love doing, then go ahead and fill out the application below. It's absolutely exclusive. Only we see it.